Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we're going to be doing another 90-day roundup. This time we're going to be covering episodes really 15 and 16 in this episode. But before we do, just a quick reminder again, is piggybacking off the Patreon ad, that we are currently this month, true crime documentary is Escaping Twin Flames. The first episode, bonus episode, that's just covering the first episode of the documentary, is going to be releasing, I believe it's today, actually, at 3 p.m. Eastern. So you can look out for that. And yeah, if you want to get the rest of the episodes, again, that is exclusive to Patreon. So yeah, that's basically that. We do have some hot goss for this episode, so let's get into some of that. So I believe we have the entire cast at this point for Bachelor in Paradise, but it's been split up into the Golden and then, the OG version. So the Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette cast has been revealed. So we're going to go through that with you now. And we'll do like a quick reminder of who everybody is and all that. So we have Jack. If you remember, he likes to do it his way. Yeah, him. He was in the Golden Bachelorette season 1. His tagline, you know what? I think it's time to party. Okay. We have RJ, who is also on the Golden Bachelorette season 1, obviously, because there's only one season for each. I don't particularly remember this guy, but anyways, his tagline, I think age grants perspective. We got Captain Kim. Captain Kim is here, aka he should have been on below deck. Anyways, you remember him. His tagline is wisdom is the domain of the old. We have Kathy, Zip It Kathy. That's the one. Her tagline is I packed a diamond just in case they don't have one I like. We have CK. His tagline is, "I'm so glad that I'm here. You never know what to expect." We have Natasha. We had her very briefly. She was the one, I believe, who did she do the cussing? I can't remember if she did the cussing. We had her very briefly in season 1 of Bachelor, Golden Bachelor. Her tagline, "I bring the energy. What can I say?" We have Keith. Keith is the one who's, I believe, his ex-wife was a drug addict, I believe, and he was raising his kids on his own. Tagline, look in the mirror and say, "I'm the prize." We have, in my honest opinion, a fan favorite. We have Gary. His tagline is, "Having a second chance. Are you kidding me?" We have Leslie, which we've all been spoiled on this one already. We know who Leslie is. We don't need to go through her tagline. Maybe it has something to do with dancing. We've got April. Um, and I think that's it. Yo, that's actually a disservice. Where's Pascal? He has to be here. This is perfect for him. Anyways, that's our Golden Bachelorette cast. Maybe there'll be others. I don't know if we're done there. Anyways, as for the other casts, we know that we have Hannah Brown and Wells. They're here. I don't really care about Hannah. Always happy to see Wells. So I'm just going to be going through here because we kind of just went through the golden side of things. So we're just going to pass through some of these people right now. Okay, so we have, oh, Jesus Christ. Y'all, we got Sam. Now, if you remember Sam, Sam is the dickhead who was on Jen's season. Yep. He's here. That's great. We have Bailey, who was on the most recent season of The Bachelor, who, with Grant. We have Zoe, who, yes, she was also on the most recent season of The Bachelor. We have Jonathan, who was on Jen's season. We have Jeremy, also on Jen's season. We have Dale Moss. Oh shit. Is Dale the one that Claire kind of hooked up with and she like stopped the entire show for? I wonder if that's him. It kind of looks like him. Anyways, we have Catherine Cat. She's back, y'all. We have Lexi, who I think she was on Joey's season by the looks of things. We have Alex, who was on Grant's season. We have Jess, who I believe was on Joey's season. Y'all, Justin is here. Justin Glaze, aka Marshall's cousin, the one with the big spaces. Yeah, he's here. We have Brian. I recognize him. I don't know what season he's on, but I do recognize him. We have Kyle, who seems to Bachelorette season 17. I don't know who that is, which one that is. Spencer, I recognize him. Hakeem, who just recently made an appearance on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We discussed that. He's here. We have Ricky, who I think he was on Michelle's season. No. That is incorrect. He was not on Michelle's season. He was on Jen's season. Yep. Um, I guess that's it. Oh, no, wait. I think there's more. Hold on. Oh, no, then we're talking Love Island. Never mind. That seems to be it for the cast. So that's exciting. That's coming very soon, beginning of July. So, yeah, let's see what else we have before I say we got no more. Okay, yeah, that's it. We don't have anything else. That's all hot goss. Okay, guys, so let's head into the reason we're here, and that is to do the 90-day roundup for episode E15 and 16. Okay, so first let's do Serper and Shekinah. So we see them getting their tattoos, which we already know. I mean, I never really noticed her tattoo. Maybe it's because his is just so in your face. But we've seen his tattoo before, but now we're actually seeing it being done. So as we know, he got lips on his neck and she got his name on hers. We're doing red ink because factual, it's harder to take red off. So it's permanent. But he does say, no matter what, I will keep your lips on me. I'm not going to get rid of it unless you cheat on me. That would be the deal breaker. And my girl says nothing. She's just staring at him, saying nothing. He's like, say something. Say, I won't. Like, say something. Like, geez. Anyway, so that's kind of that. They get through that. No big deal. Then we see them saying the friends. We find out that no one actually is going to be invited to the wedding because they're doing something a little more intimate. No, y'all are not going to go elope. They're not going to the courthouse by themselves. No. They're going to have this thing called bedding. They're getting married in bed. Bedding. Is this a thing? Is this like, is this a thing? Is this something that people actually do, or did you just make this up in the moment? This is the weirdest shit I have ever heard. But anyways, we'll talk more about the bedding later. One of her friends, I think half-heartedly brings up, what about getting a prenup? And her one friend there, I think her name was like, what, Whitney, Rachel, whatever, blonde-haired girl. She really gets into it, but she kind of, I guess, opens up this communication now. Shekinah and Sarper, apparently, from what we can see, they have never discussed a prenup prior to this. This is not the time nor the place to bring up a prenup. Not the place. But she says, you know what? Like, I trust you, but I think we should do this. And I'm actually really floored by how this is being brought up. First of all, a prenup should be like, if your friends want to bring that up to you and you alone, that's one thing. And then you can take that in and say something to him. But to have all of your friends here watching this conversation, he feels like maybe he can be open and honest about what he is thinking or feeling, which is going to make people think ill of him. Like, this is a bad situation. And I blame Shekinah. Um, but he says, okay, fine. You know what? Like, he's totally against it, but he says, you know what? If you want to do a prenup, then I want to add a clause in there. Okay. This is very reminiscent of their first season. He says, I want to add a weight target, 128 pounds. I will weigh you the first week of every month. And if you're over the 128 pounds, you have to pay me $1,000 per pound that you're over. So if you are supposed to be 128, if you are, God forbid, 138 pounds, well, bitch, you owe me $10,000. Whoa. And although I understand his frustration and his anger with this conversation coming up, this is why I didn't like you, Cyper. Sorry, Cyper. I didn't like you, Sarper, in the beginning. Because, like, this is gross behavior. This is bad. And you're doing this in front of her friends. You're doing this in front of French Baguette, which you guys have come to some sort of truce. Like, this is no good. But Shekinah, for whatever, no different than before when she agreed to be weighed, she literally says, okay, fine, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it. And it was like, whoa, what? Like, this man is literally telling you, you better not be a pound over 128 pounds. And otherwise you owe me $1,000 per pound. and you're going to do that. You're okay with that. She justifies him, which, yes, he is mad, but like, this is when you literally say, you know what, let's talk about this later. But she says, well, he's just being mad. He's just being full of shit, basically. Like, that's like, and you know what? I do think he's being full of shit. And I do think he is mad. But he's justified in his anger, but he's not justified in, tit for tat type situation. Anyway, the next day, they argue about that prenup. He doesn't want to do it, or he feels like you don't get married with the intent of getting divorced. Because I think if that's the case, he wouldn't do this, knowing that he's done this before. It didn't go good. He's not going to do this. And he doesn't want to enter into, doing a prenup, um, right off the bat, knowing like, okay, well, this is won't work. Right. For me, like I said, I am a firm believer of a prenup, not because I think we're gonna get divorced, because I don't think necessarily think that, but when you are a person, especially a person who has been through a divorce, as I have in the North American like way of thinking, I want to protect myself. I want to protect you as well, and I want to protect our assets. That and again, prenup, I've said this before, doesn't mean you're getting zero. Okay. It just means anything that I've come in with, debts, money, whatever, and same with you is protected. That's it. My responsibility, my shit, your responsibility, your shit. Anything accumulated during the marriage is a whole other situation. Anyways, enough of the prenup. So she's packing to go to the venue. And I'm like, the hootie wuddy, because y'all getting married in bed. More on that in a minute. And Sarah apparently is just MIA. She explains to production that they apparently started fighting over kind of making a mess with these coffee grounds. I'm not going to get into the logistics of this fight, but clearly, like, he made a mess with his coffee grounds. He yelled at her, and because, he fusses over these because he is most likely OCD. But, anyways, she says, I have been texting him, but he's not texting me back. We don't know where he is. But then she admits, so y'all, I can find him because I put an Apple tag on his keys in case he loses them so that we can find them. Bitch, don't lie. Don't lie. Don't lie to me. We know why you put the Apple tag on his keys. You want to make sure he ain't doing shit, which is fine, whatever. Like, I mean, I'm going to get into my thoughts and feelings on tracking each other and stuff like that, which I don't know if happens in this episode, but it will happen and I will talk about it. But it's just like, it's, don't lie. We know why you put the Apple tag on his keys. So yeah, she says that she did that. And I'm thinking, you so made that up on the spot. But of course, Sarper does not know about it. Because if you remember in their last season of The Other Way, when they're talking about tracking, because I think they were talking about, I think it was James and Tata. I don't know how those names just popped into my head because literally I want to forget. But when James and Tata, I think it was them, and they were talking about the fact that, they track each other or whatever. And he was like, you never let them track you. You give them a hand, they take the arm. Well, next thing you know, they're taking your entire body. So we already know his view sets on tracking. So of course he has no clue. So she ends up actually sharing his location with production so that they can find him as well. So they actually get to him before she does. So when they find him, he's just like, I've done this before. My ex-wife, she did the switch up on me, that same day. Um, and he's like, now I see Shekinah throwing this prenup in my face, And he's just kind of like, is she also going to do the change up on me? Like he's he's worrying for sure. And it's not crazy to worry. But then she finds him where she catches up to everybody and he tells her, and this kind of broke my heart because again, as a person who's been through this, I mean, now mind you, I didn't have a change up or anything. I didn't change or anything. I was just feeling like I'm a wife. It's so weird to think that way. Took a minute for me to be comfortable referring to him as my husband or referring to myself as his wife. It was weird. So I didn't quite do that. But I do understand, like, whatever fear you may have surrounding marriage, it's a healthy fear when you've been divorced. So he says to her, I'm scared. Of course he's scared. But of course she's like, scared of what? He says marriage. Marriage is scary even when you haven't been divorced. But she can't even like see past that. She's just kind of like, oh my God, like, what? Why? We're getting married. Like, do you not want to do this? I mean, all valid questions, but I'm just like, can you just hear him, please? Anyways, he asks her, like, aren't you nervous to get married? And I think, again, it is, even if you know, this is who I want to be with, this is who I want to spend my life with, you're confident as all hell, this is who you want, there is still a level of nerve. I think that's a normal thing, honestly, because again, at the time, I thought, yes, this is a person I want to spend the rest of my life with, this person I want to be with. I know I'm doing the right thing, whatever. I still have that level of nerve, just a little bit. Not cold feet, but I was nervous. There's a difference between cold feet and nerves, which again, I think cold feet is a normal thing to experience as well. But anyways, she says, well, I wasn't nervous until now. Yeah, okay. Anyways, as if we should kind of unstart her for now. We'll the conversations on the tracking will be in the next episode. Okay, so let's move on to the throuple. Yeah, God. So they have a convo the next day after the whole situation with Ray and all that. Um, and Annie Brenda, because that's what her name is now, brought a translator to kind of help with her being able to communicate everything and they understand and all that. So she says, with last night, she didn't think it was important to tell you my name in the beginning because yeah, I'm a stripper. You hooked up with me in the club. This is not going to go anywhere. Y'all are married, so like it's whatever. But obviously that's changed along the way. And she also says, I was married, but I was a victim of abuse. It's like I had to get a restraining order against him. Um, she's like, it took me a long time to get the paperwork in order for the divorce because he didn't want the divorce. And I don't know if this is just because of the situation or if this was like, in Mexico, there has to be both parties need to agree so we can drag shit out if they don't. Um, but because he didn't want the divorce, it just dragged things on more, made investigations needing to be done. So she's like, I couldn't have anything in my own name during this time because anything that's in our names becomes property in the marriage, complicates things. So she couldn't have anything like that. So that's why she used Annie to put on things or got Ray to open a bank account or whatever the case may be. So they seem to take that well. They seem to understand. And we're good for now. So now we are headed to Guadalajara to go see her family. Yike. So then they're with her family. And as Annie Brenda is about to break the news to her family here, Amini Amani just starts choking. She's like, like, are you good, ma'am? But she does say to her family, so these two idiots are married. I'm paraphrasing, but these two idiots are married. I'm their girlfriend. And you could tell on her brother's face, he's like, the fuck? Like, so they're married, these idiots. You're the third that's, you know, and her aunt's like, what in sweet Jesus? Because Christian, Catholic. So they're, you could tell on all of their faces and their reactions of, this is some fucked up shit, but it's fine. We accept. Just like that. I wanted more drama. I wanted a cliffhanger. You know what? Honest to God, I want someone in these situations where they're like, I don't know what my family's gonna think. I think my family's gonna hate this. I think they're gonna disown me. I want them to hate it and disown them. Just once. I want one time where I'm like, clutching my pearls. I didn't clutch a pearl. Nothing. I'm literally there being like, Amita's about to die because you won't stop choking. So that's it. Anyways, the topic was boring this time around, but it gets interesting in the next episode. Anyways, that's it for them. Hi, everyone. I have a new song for you to listen to. This one is by Hollow Zoo, and the song is called Never Do What You Say. I did get the song from the Podsafe music directory, which is part of the World Podcast Network. And if you like the song and you want to listen to it, you want to download it, you can go down to the show notes where there will be a link to do so. It includes the link to the Podsafe Facebook directory, which is again a part of the World Podcast Network. So without further ado, I'm going to play that song for you now.
So now watch you fall. I can see your fear. It's in the whites of your eyes. You're all alone, and we appear from the dark of night. We know you lied to us. We see right through all of your dirty little schemes. So self-assured that your empire is our destiny. Out of your mind, I'm deep
let's move on to Sean and Aaliyah. So he comes to her and he's like, "So I got something for you." You're like, "Ooh, is it a gift? Is it fun? Is it another baby doll? Like, what's going on here?" No, y'all, he's come with a prenup. Now, the prenup makes sense. I'm not surprised by it. But when you come at somebody and you say, "I got something for you," it's usually something that they want. I don't think she wants the prenup. But he straight up tells her, "I need you to do this before we get married," because he is pretty well off, you know? So I would understand that. But she's going to take her time. We'll get to that a little later. So it's the morning of the wedding, and she's got a surprise for him, y'all. After it took they went through July 4th, the whole bit, I think it took about a week or so because it's the day of the wedding. She signs the prenup, so all is good. So apparently, and we need to set the scene here because I got lots to talk about with this. The day of their wedding is supposed to be real fucking hot. I think 102 degrees or some shit. It's Satan's asshole right now. Okay. So the wedding is supposed to be at 5 p.m. Hold on to that. She starts getting ready at 1:30 p.m. Okay. That is 3.5 hours to get ready. So we're going to move off of that for a second. While cameras were following Aaliyah and Jackie for them to go get ready, Sean's mom fell in the kitchen. They got her up into the couch, but she couldn't move very well. Her hip is hurting her now. And he's worried because he's like, my mom is in her 80s. Falling down and hurting yourself could kill her. Because then if her hip is hurting, she could have potentially done something to her hip, could have broken a hip. That could kill her, you know? Um, and he's insisting, maybe we need to go to the hospital. But she's like, no, no, no hospitals. I will be fine. At 5 o'clock, I'm going to be at your wedding. It's fine. And he says, listen, if it gets worse, don't come. Because it's first of all, A, he's done this shit before. This is the first time getting married. But, it's not, the biggest thing is her health. But she says, oh, no, 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 I will not miss it. I'm going to be there. It's going to be fine. And he says, knowing my mom, she will die at the wedding instead of miss the wedding. Now, that's dedication. That is a good mom. But I definitely can understand the stubbornness because I got some of that in my family. Anyway, it is now 3 p.m. We are 2 hours away from the wedding. Nothing has been done, y'all. Now, if we remember, at 1:30 p.m., Aaliyah literally says, I'm gonna go shower. It has now been an hour and a half since that point, and not a fucking thing has been accomplished. So she says, or Jackie says, so, Aaliyah, how long do you need to, get ready? Aaliyah says 2 hours, ma'am. That takes you right up to the point where you're gonna get fucking married. Okay. But she says, do we have it? And Jackie's like, no, no, you don't have it. Not at all. The evilest laugh I've ever fucking heard in my life. Are we good, ma'am? What the hell is going on? It was so weird. She's like, it was just the most evilest laugh. And I'm just like, okay, this is when you say, no, bitch, you do not have 2 hours. You might have the 90 minutes you mentioned before. That's how long you have. So let's get your hair done and the nails done too. And the car wash and ladies leaving men at home because yeah. And the full girl. And when the feelings go in a friend, it's 3 o'clock and the reception's gonna be jumping without you. Yeah. Anyways, Jackie tells Aaliyah, so I just found out that his mom fell at the house, I think, when we were driving up here. And clearly you can tell, like, she's worried, but that's as far as it goes. And that's gonna come back. And I don't know who Jackie found out this from. If it was from Sean, if it was from someone else, I have no clue. But this is look at that. So, y'all, can we talk about her look? Okay. I thought her hair was beautiful. Okay. Thought it was nice. Thought her makeup was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. I'll tell you whose makeup was great. Jones. Jones' makeup was amazing. We'll get to that. So, it was okay. But can we talk about the dress? Can we talk about the dress? What in God's name was this dress? Now, I understand the inspiration was a Cher outfit. And I know exactly which outfit this is. I saw the outfit, but I remembered it anyways once someone mentioned it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know which outfit that is. Cher looked amazing. Cher body was perfection. And it wasn't a dress, by the way, with a bodysuit, but Cher could. Cher could now leave it to Cher because I don't know what this was. The dollar store poofs at the bottom was a travesty. The white underwear under the dress, bad idea. The see-throughness of this dress was a bit much. I think a elegant see-through lace or something, here, there, and somewhere else is a fine. I think that would have been okay. But to me, I felt like the only thing Aaliyah was wearing was the goddamn white underwear. Okay. And the poofs at the bottom. Okay. That's about as far as this outfit went. It was not a good dress. It was horrendous, honestly. And I don't think it did her justice. I really don't. My girl has an ass. Okay. She has a great body. And it's just like, you did not do yourself a service with this dress. Nor do I think it is appropriate for a wedding. I just don't. I think you can be sexy, but you need to be tasteful. And I just did not get this from this dress. This is, I think, bar none, the worst dress I ever. That is a no to the dress. I just, no, not okay. Anyways, y'all. It is now 6:30 p.m. If you remembered, I said that they were getting married at 5. It's been an hour and a half. She's still not there. They're still not there. Sean literally says, we were supposed to be married by 5, have cocktail half hour or something, and then eat by 6. It is 6:30 and they haven't even got married. We're losing control, people. We're losing control. It is 102 degrees. His mom, who just fell a few hours ago, is in this fucking heat. But forget her falling. She is an elderly person out in the heat. Shit. Sean's an elderly person out in the heat. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. People are melting. People are like, I wish they would get something to drink. It's not fucking good. And y'all, he is pissed. By the time we get to 6 o'clock, he's like, I'm fucking done. I'm out. I'm outie 3000. I can't do this anymore. It is what it is. And that's the end of Sean and Aaliyah until the next episode. So let's move on to Greg and Joan. Y'all, he paid off the dowry. He's obviously with his parents helping to pay for the wedding. It freed up some money. And yeah, he never would have been, if he was alone and paying for this wedding, he would not have been able to pay off this dowry and also have money left over to buy a cow suit. It just wouldn't have happened. Anyway, he's like, I'm going to go surprise her in this cow suit. He takes a blindfold over to her so she can't see. And he comes in dressed like a cow. And this is when he tells her he paid for the dowry, so yay. So now we got the bachelorette party, and Lucille is coming. She's invited. And we're going to be going to a strip club. Lucille, just an older Italian woman, is about to be going into a strip club. Lucille says, I've never been to one before. I don't know what you do. What do you do? Do you stuff the bills down their pants? Oh, they don't wear pants. Oh, okay. But on the way, let's play Never Have I Ever because it's going to be fun. One of the questions was, never have I ever had sex in public? And again, if you know the rules of the game, you got to drink if you've done it. Well, y'all, Lucille drinks. Where? Where, Lucille? Where did you have sex in public? I don't remember. I would remember. I don't think I've ever had sex in public. I've tried. Definitely have tried. But I don't know, have I? Mm, not public. Definitely in places that I shouldn't have. Like in the men's bathroom. Yeah. The men's bathroom and like a pretty busy part. If anyone knows how the Toronto works, downtown Toronto, and you have the pass. Yeah, I slipped into a men's bathroom and had sex in there. Yeah, met that. I've had sex in the parking lot or the garage, one of the garages, underground parking. Done that. That's pretty out in the open because anyone could have seen us. Yeah. Anyways, I might bleep some of this out. Anyways, Craig, there was this rehearsal dinner. It's so nice. It was so thoughtful. The food looked good. Everyone looked great because he's wearing like traditional outfits. And Lucille, well, the food, she's just like, is that spicy? Is that spicy? Greg, is that spicy? He's like, yeah, ma, it's spicy. And he's like, why you gotta ask so many questions? Just eat the food. So then he also has traditional Ugandan dancers. She's dancing along, and oh, she just looks so happy. She looks so happy. He did a really great job with this. Kudos to him. So today's the wedding day, y'all. The next day, today's the wedding. And he's like, hey, ma, I fucked up. And Lucille's like, what happened? He's like, well, the wedding's at 6. I told everybody to come at 6. Well, maybe I should have told people to come at 5:45. I was gonna walk down the aisle right before Joan does. I fucked up. Yikes. And Lucille's like, well, maybe we can send a mass text out or something. Would that fix it? We don't know. But we will leave it off for this episode. So we'll talk about that next one. So that's it for them. Let's move on to Juan and Jessica. Very, very short, y'all. Not much here. McGinn is actually at the house to help them do something to clumpify the weddings or to make paper flowers. Okay. Okay. I guess that may work. But I guess she was kind of supposed to be taking care of the baby. But she got all fucked up and almost dropped the baby. Baby almost fell in his head. Yeah. But anyways, listen, she's clearly a klutz. She falls while bowling and she almost dropped the baby. I don't know, Ben. But anyways, he says, like, I'm not gonna go on the ship. He tells her this. I'm gonna stay. So, yay, he's learned a lesson. No shipping. Yay. One then tells her, um, in another scene, starts talking to her about her learning Spanish and why she hasn't learned it yet. He's like, you've had 4 years to learn, and obviously he's not seeing any progress. She's like, well, I had to work. I got kids. Now I got a baby. Like, she had a lot on her plate. It's a lot, but it's like, doesn't like Duolingo take like 10 minutes a day or some shit that you could do it on a lunch break or something? But anyways, she says, so what, is that like a make or break? Whether or not I learn Spanish by the time we get married? And I'm like, well, I guess because cancel the wedding now because she's definitely not going to learn Spanish in the next 24 hours, you know? Anyways, that's it for Juan and Jessica. Yeah, again, like I said, not much. And we're going to end it off with Mark and Mina. Again, not much. So they are at the venue. And while doing all of the kind of the final stuff, filling out some paperwork and stuff, Mina ends up getting a call. And her friend says, so hey, I can't give you good news. Clayton can't come to the States. And she just starts crying, which I can't even imagine what she's feeling. But she just starts crying and she says, I'm not going to get married. Like, I'm not getting married because, like, one of the most important people in her life is her son, and he can't be there because of what's going on, like the hang ups with him getting his passport. So, which I totally understand. I've heard, through the grapevine of how this basically works. France isn't to birthright, citizenship, parents ain't French or from France. You should look clearly. Anyways, but that's it for Archimina for this episode. That is it for this episode. So yeah, we're gonna finish it up. The next two episodes in one, again in the next one. And then we're gonna be moving on to other things that we need to talk about. But anyways, that is it for me, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.